Well, Matt, nothing's happened in the last week, so I think we should just wrap it. There's really nothing that happened in the world of video games.
Okay, well, then I'll take it over this time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see.
I did, however, want to congratulate you on your...
What did I do? No. That's a great intro. You nailed it. We can go into... You don't got to be weird about it.
I'm congratulating you on a fine job done announcing Splitgate 2 at the Summer Games Fest.
Not me.
I don't know why you took off your Make Games Great Again hat for the podcast. I liked it.
What were they thinking?
That guy was such a bro. It was
what
amazing.
Were they thinking?
Yeah, when bros announce video games. Like, the thing is everything he said wasn't like a lot of it was agreeable. We were like, yeah, we're all kind of tired of Call of Duty stuff, all this. But he just kind of came out with like this weird punk chip on his shoulder and then was like, look at our new innovative game that's not new or innovative anymore. And you're like, okay.
And also Battle Royale, the thing that killed Titanfall 3 potentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know. It was hypocritical, broy. It was
tone deaf too. Yeah.
Tone deaf. That was tough to watch because I am actually excited for Splitgate 2. And now
have you had a chance to play it?
No, I haven't, but I did watch Jack, our good friend Jack Fraggs' video on it, and it looks cool. Did you play it?
I did play it, yeah. We could talk about it if you want, or if there's something else you wanted to dive into.
I was going to ask you about it. Yeah, it was definitely one of the things.
Yeah, so I played the Battle Royale, and it is a Battle Royale with portals. And it's about as good or bad as you would assume a Battle Royale with portals would be.
Matt, that doesn't sound like you're particularly impressed with it.
I am not as particularly impressed with it. Yeah, it was kind of clever the way that they stitched it together. So it's not... They basically, in the main game, you have your arena modes, right? Or your larger scale modes, which can be, I think, 10v10v10. Mm-hmm. And they're on larger maps. But those maps are the same maps you find in the Battle Royale, but they like stitch together 4 different maps, and then you go through these large portals to connect the maps together.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool, right? The thing is, though, is that they are connected by like this really weird fuzzy wall. You can shoot through it, but everything's like really laggy around this wall. And so it's not great to stand next to it. You really want to get to the other side of the map.
It's not like the normal portals where you can shoot each other, headshot somebody through a portal.
You can. You can see other people on the other side.
But it's
just
weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. It's
server meshing, Matt. It's bad server meshing.
It kind of feels like server meshing, yes. It does sort of feel like that. And so instead of being like a large open world where you can go anywhere, it's like, no, you've got these predefined tunnels that you can, like literally tunnels that you go through and get to one map to the other. And they can cause some really weird interactions in between them. So it essentially stitches together all these maps to make one big one, which is cool. And then you just incorporate the Battle Royale portal gameplay you would kind of assume would stem from it. They made some weird decisions. It's chaotic as hell, where you will spawn, like you will come in and it will be like 5 teams all around.
The normal game is chaotic, so I imagine trying to do that in a Royale would just be pure chaos. Like
it is chaos, which can be fun. And you start with a pistol, so everyone like basically you land and then just like blah, 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 it's just like a shootout, right? It's just it's absolute insanity.
And the pistol looks pretty good too.
The pistol does actually slap, It will actually probably win the firefight more often than lose if someone picks up another, like, primary weapon, right? Which you would consider a primary weapon.
It's
like,
the Halo. It's the Halo pistol where you're like, oh, it's just a cute little silver gun, and then it's just like boom, like blows you away.
Yeah, it'll dunk on people. So the chaos can be fun, but can also be just overwhelming because you land and then it's just nonstop, and usually your team isn't going to come out. They've got a respawn system, which is really interesting, and I think it's trying to maybe combat that, where if you die, you're not out. If your teammates survive, they go run away for a second. You will spawn back in and directly onto your teammate, and you can continue on. I think this respawns get longer and longer. as the match goes on. So by like
Okay.
the end or midway, it'll be like 30 seconds until, and by that point, like
But it
it'll be very
becomes
easy
like
for
a
the other
hunt
team.
to eliminate squad wipe,
Yep.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So instead of having a down but not out, they have a respawn, which I think it works okay, but it just means that at the beginning of a round, it's just chaos because your teammates are reviving, the enemy teammates are reviving, they're all just got pistols, and you're searching for weapons, and there's usually not enough weapons or ammo, and there's not enough health, so you're just kind of like, I got nothing, I have nothing, and then your team gets wiped, and you're back at the waiting in the spawn screen, waiting
let me
queue.
ask you about the thing. I mean, okay, so it's a royale. That part seems like the least exciting aspect of the game.
Yes.
The portals has always been the cool thing about Splitgate. Are people pulling off crazy maneuvers during the royales and stuff where you're like, what? That dude just came flying like 1,000 feet through the air and shot me with a shotgun or something.
No, that doesn't happen. No, not at least not yet. They do actually have this really cool portal now, or a portal wall that is basically a lift. So it's angled, and then when you put a portal through it, and then you go through that portal, it then genesis you out. So it's basically like a jump pad. So they do have some of that in the game, which is, I think, pretty neat. But it could just be because people are getting used to the portal system that a lot of people are not really taking advantage of it as much as they could. So I haven't seen that yet. But I did pull off some stuff where I was like, damn, that felt sad. That's the thing about Splitgate is it can be janky and it can be a little scuffed at times, but man, when you're able to get that flank off on someone and get a portal behind them or what have you, it is so unbelievably gratifying to not only pull that off and then like do a grand escape by shooting portals everywhere.
Yeah.
The issue I have with the Battle Royale is it feels like they don't actually want you using portals as much. And I think they were doing it for, the whole, so there is events that happen. Some of them will increase the double damage where you basically just two-shot people. It's bananas.
Yeah.
There's one which will make everyone go faster, including guns. So they'll have a high rate of fire. And then there's one that is an EMP, which will disable portals. You cannot use portals at all. And I'm like, did you just make Apex Legends in your game because you just eliminate, because it's very inspired by Apex Legends. You can really tell a lot of the design around it. You basically just made a normal battle royale. What you just eliminated the thing that made your game interesting is the portals.
Well, it seems like the portals are a mechanic that's so ubiquitous to Splitgate where it's like you may as well turn off shooting in a first-person shooter or something.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like it's the bread and butter of your game. Don't turn it off as a feature.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that. I was talking to some people and they're like, well, they're trying to force you out of the map to go to another map, right? Because like I said, there's a bunch of maps stitched together. And so they're trying to make this event not fun so that you go to another map. And I'm like, you just said it. They tried to make it not fun? Do you hear yourself right now? Like
that's good game design, Matt. When you want to lure a player to the activity, you instead make all the other activities so not fun that they will eventually go to the one you want them to. You're like, well,
I don't know if that's the best outlook to frame this, this event that's going on. Apparently people do like the idea of having no portals because they added in a no portal mode into the arena based mode, right? So
I mean, then it just kind of becomes Halo or whatever.
It's kind of like Halo, yeah. And which is fine, right? It's okay because Halo's dropped the ball. But if I'm going to play Splitgate, I want to play it because of the Splitgate.
It is, it's one of those shooters is like, when you're talking about the chaos and stuff, it's bringing me back to my Unreal Tournament days, my Quake 3 Arena days, where it is just very chaotic, where people are jumping all over the place and you're insta-gibbing people as they fly through the air across the map, and it's just like total mayhem. And there's definitely a point in my gaming life where I was like, this is what I want to do. Like this, just I get in the zone and now I'm in my Zen state and I'm sort of controlling the chaos, right? Or you're just living in the chaos. But I think you got to be in the right mental place for that. And also I think once the tactical shooter came out, people were like, oh wait, we can have just as much, if not more fun in a less crazy over the top Gibbs battle arena by like slowing things down a little, but not necessarily losing all of the skill. Yeah, we lose movement skill. We make up for it in like recoil skill or whatever.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. So going back to it is like they're kind of all these devs keep trying to remake the arena shooter, and I'm glad that the first Splitgate like saw some success, but it really was like one of the biggest flash in the pan successes of all time, where you're like, everybody's talking about this game, everybody's playing this game. 1 month later, crickets, you know?
Yeah.
And that seems to be the staying power of the arena shooter right now. You know, for a lack of a better definition, Halo kind of became the modern arena shooter, and it's not even doing very well. Yeah, you can play it for free, and it's not doing that well. So
yeah, arena shooters are tough to do, let alone be successful in this day and age, for sure.
Maybe somebody will crack the net, but yeah. Anyway, Splitgate 2.
The final thing I wanted to mention about the portal thing in Battle Royale is that when you spawn in, you only get a set amount of portals that slowly recharges. So you can't just be like portal, which I'm assuming they did for design reasons. But once again, it's like the thing that makes your game interesting, you're limiting players to be able to do that thing.
Yeah.
Which I was like, why are you doing that?
The cool move that I liked was like, you put a portal, but you're up on a tower, you put a portal behind you, you jump to the ground, shoot it at the ground before you go in, then it launches you, and then if you're a badass, you shoot another portal at the ground, and then you come back and you launch even further. But you need to shoot a lot of portals for that. So if they start limiting your portal rate, then
so I think that when you spawn in, you can use 4 portals.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay. So you kind of,
like I said, it's a slow recharge to get all 4 of those back. So you like at the beginning, you can use it to get away, and then that's about it. Yeah. Or maybe get like 1 flank, and that's about it.
It's weird because on one hand, I really like seeing the clips and or doing it myself of getting one of those crazy plays off. And I like, you know, sometimes I think about Lawbreakers, where like it was like an attempt to revive the arena shooter, and they had a character that could like use these laser whips to like Spider-Man around the levels.
Oh yeah.
And it took a huge amount of skill to be good with it. But once you started to get the hang of it, you're like, dang, I'm moving way faster than other players. And so I do still have a place in my heart for like the high skill movement shooter. So on that front, I'm like, yeah, Splitgate, I hope there's an audience. But also every single time I've seen a dev make a really hard attempt at pushing the movement arena shooter back into the main light, it always crashes and burns. But we'll see.
Because like you wanted to have a high skill ceiling, and I'm sure this is why they limit how many portals you can have, is that if you make the skill ceiling too high, then the people that get really good at it like absolutely trounce on anyone else, and it just becomes a bloodbath. And like that's great if you have a giant player base, but it's not when all you have are the you know the cream of the crop that never left, and it has no new players coming in because of it. So it's really hard to find that balance. Very difficult.
That's a problem with like any sort of flight game where you have semi-realistic piloting mechanics, because you're like, okay, well now the skill ceiling is extremely high, and there'll be players that you'll never beat, like period.
Yep.
And you're just like, that's it. I'll never beat that person. And so it becomes, it could become off-putting to somebody getting into a game and just getting dunked on.
I did enjoy my time. I don't want to be too overly negative, but it was just for a guy that comes out with that kind of, you know,
swag,
confidence. Yeah. That confidence to be like, we're going to be making FPS.
Your game better be the best like thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to back it up.
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
It's like, and then the Battle Royale is like, it's fine. It's fine.
And not to mention, ironically, I thought the Black Ops 7 trailer looked kind of cool.
No, I thought it looked pretty legit too. I mean, it's Call of Duty, so I'm a little suspicious, but this COD campaigns are fun. At least I enjoy them for the little romp that they are.
Yeah. I'm not like overly hyped for Black Ops 7. I'm just saying the trailer, I was actually engaged the whole way through. Usually I'm like, all right, I know it's coming, you know, whatever.
Right. Well, it's also, I think, because I don't think they announced that it was Call of Duty, what you were seeing at the beginning. You're like, oh, what's this? Exactly. Wait, Call of Duty.
Yeah. That's fair, actually. By the time I realized it was COD, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, you had me. Like, it's interesting. I'm curious. What else from Summer Games Fest? We were talking a little bit before the podcast that Summer Games Fest is like, it's sort of the the main presentation, and then Xbox does a thing, and then everybody does a thing.
It's essentially E3 now.
Yeah.
Without being called E3.
What things stood out to you, whether it was the main presentation or stuff from the next days?
The ones that I thought the Xbox showcase for me was one of the highlights. And the two that I was most interested, or at least that I can think of off the top of my head, was the Clockwork game. I can't remember the full title. I could probably bring it up, but Grounded 2 was also announced as well, and I absolutely adored Grounded 1.
Okay.
It is the survival bug game. It's a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I thought it was just super charming, and it's getting bigger and better than before. They're adding mounts. They're adding in tons of new locations. Like I said, it's bigger, so there's going to be more things to explore.
What do you mount? Like an ant or something?
Yeah, you're going to have ants. Yeah, literally.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you will, they're called buggies, which I thought was very, very cute.
Cute.
And each one will have different attributes. So like I think they only announced 2 buggies so far. One is a spider, and then one is the ant. The ant will be able to help you build bases. So they're good at chopping down trees, which is just grass, right?
Yeah.
And then moving those quicker back to your base. The spider is better in combat and will assist you in doing like lots of damage or slowing down the enemy with their webs and stuff like that. So you can actually have mounted combat so very
That's
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to add like bumblebees and stuff like that because it is early access, and considering the map is going to be larger than the first one, I think they said it's going to be like 3 times as large, which is kind of nuts.
Oh, hey.
I can't remember the exact amount.
There's going to be a lot of not the bees memes in that game. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The one that I thought was really interesting was Clockwork Revolution.
They've
shown this off before.
I gotta look. Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like BioShock a little bit.
Okay.
Where
I see that.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it is that from the little that they show, a decent amount what they show, is the world will dramatically change depending on your decisions and the outcome that you want to have happen. Where like the entire environment will change around you, right?
Okay.
Like, buildings can be destroyed, and like entire like city blocks will just be gone, or it will be, religious icon will show up in certain locations, and maybe they'll show up in other locations if you decide to go another route, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It looks really ambitious.
Yeah.
Which scares me because
we've been burned before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time that they, just to interject quickly with a little anecdote, because
go for it.
Feels like the exact same thing. Back in my day, the big your decisions will affect the game world game was Fable, the original Fable.
Yeah.
And Peter Molyneux, the designer of that game, hyped it up.
You can plant an acorn and a tree will grow.
Yeah. He hyped it up so much. We thought we were getting the holy grail of games. Like this was going to be the ultimate game. And then it launched and the game was fine. It was a fun little adventure, but on the scale of how much your actions affected the game world, it was just like a fraction of what he had described. So there's a major letdown. So yeah, you describing this game here sounds super cool, and all of a sudden my Peter Molyneux fear comes in. I go, oh no, not again.
Right. It's like when you're able to change the world in such a dramatic way, is this just like the end of the game? Is this going to have ramifications that permeate throughout, where quests and story lines will shift and change depending on those major decisions? So it's not just a visual overhaul of the locations, but also the story itself. Like,
it already sounds so complicated to make something like that. And obviously we've seen studios do it with Baldur's Gate 3, having all these crazy like dynamic storylines that you can take where it really feels like you're in control of your journey. So it's not impossible. It's just, we've also heard the stories of how difficult that game was to make too. Or they're like, this was insane. Don't expect another one.
Right. Yeah. This is like a once in a decade style game. So don't expect it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it does look cool. I was very impressed by their presentation. The Outer Worlds 2 look cool. The initial trailer was all right, but then they went into a larger presentation going into all the different things that they're improving from the first. I never played the first, so I can't really speak from from that. But they really were trying to showcase that player choice and agency is a big deal. Not only from the weapons that you're going to be able to choose, but also you'll have stats that will affect how you're able to interact with the world, where if you come across a door, if you have enough strength, you can just open it up. If you have enough science skill or engineering, you can grease the wheels, and then that will open up this, the door instead. So if you don't have any of those stats, then you just got to find another way inside, right? And that's just a door. They were showcasing a quest where you can go at stealth, you can go loud, you could bribe someone, you could give up one of your companions so your companion goes to jail and you may never get them back. You could go underneath if you have the right equipment. And it's like, oh, that's awesome. But is that going to be the way it is for every quest? Is this just one example and you put a lot of effort into this? Like, hey, look at how expansive and varied you can handle these situations, but what is the overarching, is that true, and does that permeate throughout the entire game? We'll see.
Yeah, that's cool. You mentioning it's just a door made me think of kind of a classic, I don't know if this is classic, but it's popular to mention this in game development where they it's called like the door problem, where basically you say, oh, I need a door in a video game. And then somebody says, okay, what happens in this situation? And then you say, oh, okay, well, when it opens this way, then we enable this. And basically the parable of it is just that it gets so complicated to make just it's single way more than just a door in a video game. Yeah. So I just thought it was funny you saying it's just a door. And I'm like, that's like basically the game dev lesson is like, it's not just a door. It's like a super complex system.
For the player, it is just a door though.
Yes. I'm not poking fun at your actual point. I'm just saying it reminded me of that, which is funny. I like the idea of games. I like any game that can gate areas based on like interesting skill sets, and it goes back to like the classic Zelda games of like, oh, if you get the gloves that make you stronger, you can lift up the rock and now you can go past the rock into the zone. But games that can evolve that even further, where they give you like 4 ways to bypass something, and then you have like it's just that sense of reward of opening a thing because you got a skill and now you're like, now I can go here.
It also lets you role play more as that character.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be a big buff brawny guy, right? It's nice when you actually can do brawny things that your character who is more geared towards stealth or agility can't do that, right? So I think that's a really smart way of handling it. Yeah. They've also got negative perks, which are really cool. Now, normally I hate negative perks.
Sure.
Right? Because it's like, oh yeah, it gives you this great bonus, but like the negative is so bad that I'm like, I hate it. It's not fun. What's cute about this, and I think they're handling it really well, is that they're either funny perks or the negative is just fun. It's just like
your character smells bad, so everybody runs away from you.
So one of them is kleptomaniac, where you will I think be able to sell things or buy things. I can't remember exactly what the bonus of it is, but every once in a while, if you look at an item, your character will just grab it. They'll just grab it.
Nice.
And if you're inside of like a shop, of course, you just stole in front of potentially a guard, and the guard will come over and be like, did you just steal that? Like, what are you doing? Right? So that's really funny. Yeah. They've got one where you have bad knees, and it will make your character move faster, but every time you stand up or you crouch, you hear a loud popping noise, like your joints are cracking, that's and hilarious. Everyone around you will hear you. Right? So you'll move faster, but like you're not going to be very stealthy because of it. So it's stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm like, that's really clever and fun. And yeah, it's a disadvantage, but it's not like you now do 50% less damage or something. Yeah, stupid.
I kind of that's actually a really clever, cool way to do it because it builds into the role playing element of the game too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool. I like all that. There's it's nice to see fun innovations and evolutions to concepts that have been around forever, essentially.
So I went into the Outer Worlds 2 not really very hyped, but then by the end I was like, oh, this game actually kind of looks pretty good. So if they can get good companion quests,
people really like the first one. Like it's very well received.
Reasonably well received. I think depending on who you ask, it was because it was smaller scale. And I think there was more like not necessarily proof of concept, but it was like their first go around in this.
You get more mileage when you're a new IP trying to prove yourself. And people are like,
Yeah.
this is pretty good. And then second one is like, all right, guys, like time to step it up.
And that was the whole point. They had like this whole thing about the second one is where you really prove yourself. Exactly. So I actually might check it out as long as the actual game is fun, right? Like that's what really matters. Like you could have all these funny guns, and they do have some funny weapons. Like you shoot an ad gun, which distracts the enemy with ads.
Nice.
Actual advertisements.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. It's goofy.
Nice. One of the highlight for me was it didn't even happen in Summer Games Fest. It happened the day after or whatever, was the Expanse Cyrus Reborn. Just like, well, one, we haven't had like an Expanse game other than that Telltale one. Is that yeah. Which, I mean, that's fine, but it's also not a game for everyone per se. If you want an action oriented game, they didn't make one. So Expanse Cyrus Reborn is a third person action RPG setup that looks like it's pretty heavily laid out with stories and cinematics and characters. And that gets me excited.
Made by Alcat.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with...
Alcat makes big CRPGs. They're like one of the biggest CRPG companies out there. They did the 40K one, Rogue Trader. They've done a bunch of other fantasy ones that are really, really well received if you're into CRPGs. So they are definitely a company that knows what they're doing when it comes to telling stories, and like actual like adult stories that are, not holding your hand. Yeah. And
which is like one of the main appeals of the Expanse. It's like politics, dark politics, and as realistic a look at some sort of future version of humanity existing in our solar system, is probably one of the better portrayals of that than many other sci-fi series I can think of.
It's great because it uses hard science, but also with soft sci-fi. I don't even know really what the term is, because you can clearly tell there's the proto-molecule in the trailer. Like, spoiler alert, there's like this proto-molecule that does things. And
it's not really a spoiler.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Well, but it is if you haven't seen the show. And
sure. It's fun. They set up the universe with a lot of hard science. They ground it with rules and say, you can do this. Yep. This is how spaceships work. This is how the political system is. These are the belters. And then it says, also, there's an alien molecule type thing that we don't really understand. And it can do stuff that we can't explain. And that's a nice...
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good mechanic to break the rules of physics for the sake of storytelling. So the trailer for this looks cool. Admittedly, the gameplay from it looked a little kind of standardy, third person, whatever. But the cinematic aspect of it, I'm just like, I like this IP so much that I'm pretty pumped for it.
I think that Alcat's a great choice because I think they've got a great reputation. I haven't really played a lot of Alcat games, so unfortunately I should. Yeah. But the only thing that worries me is that it is not a CRPG, and I think this might be their first go around at trying to do something that's more cinematic, third person, larger in scale. Like the budget for this seems like it's going to be a lot higher because that's just what is required for something on this scale. So that's the only thing that has me worried. But they've shown that they can make out really big. They can make big projects and do it very well.
Yeah. Well, and based on the trailer, there was quite a bit of action set piece stuff set up in that. So,
I mean, it looked good.
Yeah, it did. It like the zero-G stuff floating around, boarding ships. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to board a spaceship in the Expanse universe and like have a firefight on the inside. That sounds badass. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, excited for that. I will say, I'm biased because I know the guy making this game, but I want to give a shout out to the Mortal Shell 2 trailer.
Okay.
It artwork wise, I thought it was one of the more impressive looking games at the Summer Games Fest showcase. Unfortunately, there was a bunch of other Souls-like looking games with kind of a dark fantasy aesthetic to them, and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate that there's so many games that just decided to premiere next to each other that have a similar visual style, but I thought that Mortal Shell 2, like visually just had some like wild looking guys in it. That
it looks like a
whoa.
very big upgrade from the first game, which I was glad to see. I did not play the first game other than the demo, but that was because I did not like the demo.
Yeah.
I bounced off it really pretty hard. The combat was just way too janky for me. It had like cool ideas with the shells where you could like you change your shell, which kind of changed your class and the play style. But it's just the combat just didn't work. I maybe it's because I was just so anchored in Dark Souls at the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful it does, dude. The animation quality alone has already a clear step up from the first game. Like in that trailer, the amount of different like finishing moves that it looked like they were performing against these enemies was pretty staggering. So it gives me hope that there's going to be a bit more polish and it's going to be tightened up.
Yeah. I do know they have a much bigger team. Like I think the first game was like a handful of devs and it was like initially solo dev, then like 3 people, and then they got a few more to finish up the project. And this one, I think they've had like a team of 30 for most of it or something around there. So
nice.
Bigger production.
It definitely shows for sure.
Yeah. No, like I said, I thought the visuals were stood out amongst competition that looked like they're aiming for a similar market. Yeah. What'd you think of all the anime games that were showed at the...
That's fine. I don't mind my anime games.
That's fair enough. I don't know, man. My eyes glaze over once I just start seeing them. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, maybe I'm just old now, I think, Matt.
You are old. What about Atomic Heart and the Atomic Heart spinoff?
Yeah. So it looked wild, man. Like, I mean, it very much like the first trailer had some pretty wild stuff going on. This one is like, can we just crank the dial up on the crazy factor?
It feels like they're moving away from sort of being a horror-esque thriller to just it's like wild and goofy and just crazy ideas now.
Yeah. I forgot the song that was playing during the trailer, but it had like this really Queen. Yeah. So it had kind of a fun, upbeat, like, hey, this is kind of creepy and weird, but also it's just bananas. So go have fun.
Yeah.
I get attracted by really good looking, artistically risky games, and Atomic Heart is like hitting on all.
And the first game was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was definitely not like a 10 out of 10, but it was a cool game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. The Cube, though, which is like the spinoff, is like an MMO something set in the universe where there's a giant cube floating around.
I need to read up more on this one because I saw the like I googled it. I'm looking at Rubik's cubes right now in case you're wondering.
Yeah,
I'm like the Cube game. It's like
the Cube game.
You mean the Rubik's Cube?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and tell it what I want to see right now. I'm a huge fan of this crappy indie movie called The Cube from forever ago.
Okay.
And so I'm just attracted to any game that's like The Cube. Like, I think there's something there.
Yeah. So I don't know much about it other than there's a lot, let's say fan service is a good way to, it seems like the devs are kind of leaning a little bit more into the fan service than I would like. But like it looks visually interesting.
Yeah.
If you watch the trailer, there's literally a moment that just zooms in on a woman's crotch, and you're just like, okay, like, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So they're clearly going one direction with it.
And you know what? I like geometry, so they got that going for them. Yeah, it's fun. Do you notice, like in these sci-fi movies or games, there'll be like Destiny. There's a giant sphere right over the planet. They're like, what's that?
It's cool. Like there's just something cool about it. It's a mystery. Like, oh my God, it's a giant cube, right? It's really cool.
Yeah. No Man's Sky has like a giant diamond pyramid thing that you're trying to find, right? I think it's like even their emblem. There's that Tom Cruise movie where he's like I don't want to spoil it, but yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. There's like a big diamond cube thing in the sky. It is fun. Half-Life 2 has the giant obelisk that you're always kind of progressing towards this massive tower that goes up into the sky, and you're just like, big geometric shapes are fun.
The way it's described is the cube is an MMORPG shooter, a giant levitating cube with rotating rows and edges hidden within its unknown equation capable of altering the laws of reality. So, could be cool.
Are you going to be able to go in the cube inside of it?
I think it'll be like on top of it. So it'll be like things will just constantly morph and change.
Yeah.
Like the pictures for this look absolutely bananas. Also, the pictures look very fake.
Yeah. Do you think we're seeing like fake trailers or AI trailers or what? Is that when you say fake, do you mean like this is a pre-rendered
Here, I will give
cinematic?
you a link to the...
Yeah.
It would be nice if you could show this somehow, but there's the link to the Steam page, and you can tell me what you think if those images look in that game play, because it looks like they're trying to make it look like gameplay looks real.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just something about it. It's just like that doesn't look real.
Yeah. I wonder what engine it looks Unreal-y, but I think it's real, but I think they're using some fun camera techniques to kind of
it could be that
trip you out a little bit, but none of it makes it look like something that they can't design an engine. It's just a lot of fun.
Go to the one that looks like a swamp with a giant like alien thing.
The swamp with the giant alien.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
It's an image of a swamp with a giant alien. Okay.
The guy with an AK, he's got his hand up like this. You see what I'm talking about?
They could be just touched up thumbnails. Would be my guess.
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a touched up thumbnail from a YouTuber.
Yeah. This is
like the bubbles don't look real. I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't look like a real image. Like it doesn't look like a real game.
Yeah. So my guess is like you take a screen grab of something happening in game, then you send it to your graphics department, and then they punch up the colors or whatever. I do believe, because I've done this on Steam previously, I believe in their like terms, they're like, you can't fake gameplay images and stuff. I think that's like one of their things. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like I read that while doing it. They had some rules of like, hey, if you're going to show gameplay, don't alter.
Don't be manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like a hard rule or if they really have any way of knowing what you're doing, essentially, because they can't play your game before you post a screenshot. So they're just like, don't do this, So they could obviously be doing that, but yeah, maybe they're touching up some screenshots.
You see what I mean, though? How it looks a little off?
Yeah. But you know what? They'll pay the price if they false advertise the heck out of it, right?
They will. Yeah.
So.
But I am looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah. It's some wild art, dude. Truly weird stuff there. Gosh, there's so many things to talk about. How excited were you about the surprise release of Arc Raiders? Wasn't that cool?
Oh, baby! The Arc Raiders drama. Let's go! Yes! I love it. I was disappointed, I'll be honest.
Sure,
I kind of joined the hype train a little bit, and I was like, oh, dude, something's happening. Something's happening. But then I'm looking back on it, I'm like, oh, no. So they were just preparing for the release of the game in the sense of like announcing the game, right?
It was an announcement, kind of for an announcement, and they did apologize for it. So good on them.
They did.
Yeah. For anyone just catching up with this story, they basically updated, I think, their Steam client or something. It had a little exe in it that had a countdown and play. It was designed to get players to notice a countdown for their game, and the countdown was for a time during Summer Game Fest, and everybody went, oh, they're gonna shadow drop it during Summer Game Fest, or they're gonna launch a beta or whatever. The countdown was for an announcement of the release of Arc Raiders, which you would have caught if you watched Summer Games Fest, right? And it's October 30th, which it's a little ways off, and it's right in the middle of some pretty big games probably dropping around. Which is what
makes me a bit worried, because they are going to be competing with mega titles.
Yeah, I don't want to have to choose between Ark and, say, Battlefield or something, you know?
Yeah.
So that would suck if they dropped really close to each other. The devs did something that was out of character for a big studio. Most studios give you these really tone deaf marketing or CEO responses to things, and these guys said, hey, we thought this was good from our perspective. Now that we see how you guys interpreted our countdown thing, we realized that it was a huge mistake.
Yeah,
that's our bad. We want to make sure that this game, like, it blows up and is as good as you guys think it's going to be. You know, we're going to put our heads down and deliver the best game possible. So apologies, guys. Wasn't our intention. And we'll be a little more on the ball next time.
It was good of them to do it, but the evidence that we were going to be getting a game, you know, people were showcasing all, like, okay, they
could have tried to get ahead of it. They could have tried to get ahead of it, and maybe they just figured that it would be easier to ask for forgiveness later than stomp on our hype beforehand. Because when people are building hype for your game and you're like, shit, they're kind of misinterpreting our message, but
but they're excited.
But don't stop the hype. We'll just let them know afterwards. Yeah.
Right.
Also, they might have not known that they were going to get some backlash for that. Also, let's be honest. Is it backlash, or is it just gamers being like, nah,
I think it's gamers
excited,
overreacting a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are like, all hype is lost. And I'm like, really? All hype? Just wait a couple more. If the game isn't ready, you really want it to launch now? Like,
yeah,
what?
For sure.
What?
No.
And a lot of the evidence that people were saying for it's got to be coming out is prices were showing up on different platforms, right? It's like, oh, well, that means it's because they want people to pre-order, because now it's available probably for pre-order because they've got a release date, right? It's like, it makes sense that they would start to announce pricing.
I mean, I bought into it. I thought we were getting a beta at least.
I thought we were getting a beta too. Yeah, I bought into it as well. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I was, you know, above it. But when I look back at it, I'm like, oh no, this could be interpreted as potentially launching, or it could just be interpreted as them getting ready to announce when you can actually buy the game and pre-order it, like every other game out there.
Yep.
So I get it. I get why both sides, you know, where both sides are coming from.
It's still one of my, it's still in the, like, top games that I'm looking forward to launching this year. I think they still got everything going for them. Even if I don't want to divide my time between it and Battlefield, to be honest, but even if it launches,
well, we don't even know when that's coming out.
It's true. We don't. But if Battlefield did launch sometime around when that launches,
that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, because honestly, I'd probably be splitting my time between the two games, and I'd be like, I really like them both. I wish I could just kind of focus on one. But anyway, first world problems, man. First world problems.
Big, giant first world problems, yeah.
Did you see the Xbox stuff? They announced the Xbox ROG Ally. Which I thought looks kind of cool, to be honest.
Don't think they gave a price on it yet, did they?
No. I don't think so. Asus has been, I think they've already got a bunch of little handhelds that can run like Windows and some other stuff. And they clearly partnered up with Xbox to make a specific one that looks pretty dope. PlayStation's kind of evolving their handheld option to be better. And Xbox is coming out with their own. I think it's good. I think the handheld market is, like, the Steam Deck has really shown that, like, hey, there's a pretty big market for people who want to play better games on a handheld. We got the Switch 2 that dropped. All of a sudden, like, all gaming is just going, like, handheld all of a sudden. And I'm curious about the Xbox thing. I'm excited about it because I do, for whatever reason, prefer the Xbox platform for gaming when it comes to console stuff. So I like the idea of a handheld version of it.
I think having more competition in this sphere will always be good.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the? Did you also catch the Halo remaster hints?
Halo Halo Remaster? You mean the Halo Remaster or Remaster?
I
Because we already got the Master Chief Collection, which is now a
Yeah.
decade old.
Yeah,
or
no,
more.
I know. Well, so they're talking about the 25th anniversary of Xbox, which is crazy to think about.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, what? 25 years?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if they officially said that they're doing a new remaster of Halo Combat Evolved, or if that's what people were surmising from the way that they phrase things. But it could be
God,
interesting.
can you imagine getting a remaster of remaster?
I could,
Because that's what essentially it would be.
Okay, well, here's why I'm excited, because they demoed Halo on the like Unreal Engine or whatever. They're talking about the engine upgrade like maybe 8 months ago or something like that, and it was just a quick teaser of like, look how good things can look on the Unreal Engine 5, and I was like, yes, I'm all for this. Looks really cool. And then they go Halo Remaster on Unreal Engine 5, and I'm like, holy crap, now I'm like sold, you know, because the first Halo game was huge because it was visually a step beyond anything people had seen before. So it's always
also like the beginning of console shooters too.
Yeah. And it was just hitting on every single factor, from like visuals to AI to controls to accessibility. It was just like
it was ahead of its time.
Yeah, way ahead of its time. So I just feel like a remaster UE5, it could kind of reclaim some of that magic, you know, of like, here's a game that looks better than you've ever thought could look.
Yeah.
And Halo's got all those nice shiny surfaces that make everything look cool, you know?
Level Cap likes the shine.
Hey, there's a game company. I used to like them a lot. I don't think they're around anymore, but they're just called Shiny. And like, at first I was like, that's silly, but the more I thought about it, I was like, they're kind of geniuses. Like shiny, brilliant. Yeah, shiny stuff, man. People like shiny things.
Who doesn't like shiny?
Yeah.
I like shiny. Associates with money. I like money.
Yeah. Did we talk about The Witcher 4 last podcast? Or
I don't think we did. No,
I think it happened like a
ago.
Day or two after we recorded the podcast. Yeah. Semi-old news. I mean, if you count a week old news old, but thoughts on The Witcher 4, Matt? What do you think?
Cool tech demo, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a tech demo. I think they came out and said that this is not Witcher 4, that this is not what the game is necessarily going to look like.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, I feel like it gives us at least a peek to what is possible.
Yeah.
And
also,
it was
demo
impressive.
Was so, like, I mean, they say it's not Witcher 4, but you also don't design 300 NPCs.
Correct.
In insane
we'll probably see those
detail
assets
and be like,
in the game.
Let's toss that out. That was fun for a tech. No. That's like thousands and thousands of man hours to get all that stuff ready. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Ciri looks like that when the game launches. A lot of those NPCs, as you said, will probably look like that. Yeah.
The big 100%. Valley and mountains and castles and trees. That's probably looks like what they're aiming for the final game.
And it's unbelievably stunning. Yeah. And especially, I think they said that that's working on a PlayStation 60 FPS with ray tracing.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
And I think they said a base model PS5 too.
I don't remember exactly what they said.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was really super impressive given it was part of the Unreal Fest thing. And what was neat about it is afterwards they did a whole bunch of really fun deep dives into that tech. And one of the things is they're showing how good their parallel processing was for the game. And they're showing like every core like maxed out, like for like character animations. They're like, do you know how we do this many character animations on screen at the same time? Like, check it out. We figured out how to like parallelize all of these assets and characters and stuff. And they're like maxing out every core. And that's usually a really hard thing to do is max out the different cores on your CPU for a game. There's almost always a main thread bottleneck. And so they're just showing how they like really took advantage of every little bit of CPU power available there. So
nice.
Yeah. It gives me, what's exciting about it too, is that this is CD Projekt Red. They've been using their own engines, I want to say, for most of their games. And they've done, I mean, obviously Cyberpunk 2077 is still one of the best looking games ever made. But they converted to the Unreal Engine, and everybody was like, "Oh man, what's that mean exactly?" And now they're like, "Boom, Witcher 4, Unreal Engine 5.6, and it looks insane."
And it does. Like it looks fantastic. The one thing that bugged me though is that they had that dude who's like, "Let's play the game," and then he's acting like he's, walking with, he's using Siri to move forward. Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, you literally just started panning and going through like a mountain shot. Like, what do you mean? And then they kept going back to him holding the control. I'm like, stop with the controller. This isn't real. We all know it's not real.
It's how you stream, Matt. You're like, oh, look how good I am. And then you got like some pro CSGO pro player playing for you instead. You're like, oh, I dodged that bullet. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was like, stop doing that. We know you're not actually controlling this camera.
He might have, he might have just been hitting a button to prompt the game to like go to the next thing.
To the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like an in-game
a
PowerPoint.
Very advanced PowerPoint. Yeah.
That might have been what he was doing. I don't know. I was super impressed with the demo. Oh, that nanite foliage. Whew. That was hot right there. They're just like, instead of, because I mean, oh man, every tree in every game ever is like, here's a square and we're going to paint a leaf onto that square and then we're going to make all the geometry around it invisible. And that's how we're going to do foliage for trees for like 30 years. And this is like, we don't have to do that anymore.
We're just going to render every leaf.
You can model every blade of grass and every leaf, and it'll be okay because it's going to be nanite and it's going to be bananas. And you can put your camera like 2 inches away from the leaf and still see all of its detail and all of its modeling like accuracy. And then we'll propagate that to 1 million trees. And you're just like, okay. That's pretty wild.
Which, if it works, great, and hopefully they'll be able to optimize it, because we've seen they were showing off nanite. It's like 5 years ago now, and it's like, holy, this looks amazing. And then there was a bit of growing pain for a lot of devs where they weren't able to really deliver on those promises that Unreal was claiming were possible. Like, it's possible, but not with the frame rate that people expect when they're playing. So.
Well, also part of that big caveat to nanite was like, look how amazing it is, and then you start to use it and you're like, wait, I can't use this for trees, because as soon as you get animated or skeletal objects that need to like blow in the wind, they're like, yeah, it doesn't quite work for that. And then so
that's the big step up.
Yeah. So as you start to use it, players who got into, or devs who got in to use it, were like, oh, it's great, except that I can't use it for this. And then they're like, now it's use cases. So they've been adding those use cases progressively to it. And so this is a huge upgrade for it, because that was like one of the best use cases, is like, can we make foliage nanite? And now they can. And so I was actually, because I played Gray Zone Warfare a little bit ago, and because the performance of that game is still not impressive, it's still tough to get like a really high frame rate. And they have these dense jungles, and I was like, they could take advantage of some of this tech, now that they could nanite their jungle. That'd be sick. But
I don't know why that sounded weird to me. Let's nanite our jungle.
Nanite the jungle, baby. It's 2025. Let's nanite it.
Yeah. So yeah, overall the presentation was neat, but once again, it was a tech demo. Vertical slice doesn't mean that's what the game's actually going to look like.
True.
And
true. There wasn't too much else that I got excited about. Anno, we talked a little bit about Anno, I think, last podcast. They did
show off combat now, though.
Ground combat,
It looks okay. Mm-hmm. It looked all right. It was cool how you're going to be able to move through streets and hold... It kind of gave me a little bit of Total War, but like Total War at home kind of vibes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It looked competent, but it didn't look nearly as responsive or as in-depth as maybe I was kind of hoping for, but... It looks decent.
I think they know that they're a builder game at their core.
Yeah.
And that the combat is more just like, just send your units at them and they'll kill each other. Don't worry about it.
Right. And that's the thing, is like, it is a city builder on top of the fact that you're going to be able to now build walls, and you're going to be able to man them and have armies. And they'll go down a street and you'll have to hold, you can maybe get a flank off on the side street, Like that's all really cool stuff, but we'll see how actually involved it is when we get our hands on it, because dude, it looks cool. Like it's absolutely stunning. I love the architecture that they're showing off and how buildings will change depending on the gods you choose, and yeah, it's really cool.
Bro, I've been missing my adjacency bonuses for building games. Anno does adjacency bonuses so well, where you're just like, if I put the coffee, the coffee bean collector guy in the field here and then build the field like that, I'm going to get like a 30% efficiency. Like you're just mathing out all your plotting and layouts and just that stuff in Anno. Just it gets me, man. I'm like, I love it.
It's fun.
Yeah. More RTSs need adjacency, man. I keep thinking about, did you play Supreme Commander at all?
I have not, no.
They had the most fun adjacency stuff where it was really simple, but like if you built a power plant, like in any RTS game, it adds power to your resources or whatever, and then you can build more stuff that needs power. But if you put that power plant next to a building, it actually gives an extra bonus of power to that building. So now that the efficiency transfer rate of the power to the building is now less. So if you built 4 power plants away from a building, you might need to build 4 to power that building. But if you build 3 connected to the building, you might only need 3 to power it. And so you would create all these cool webs and infrastructures of like buildings together that could all give each other. And it wasn't just power, it was other buildings as well that would have shared benefits and attributes. And so you would get these really cool patterns and web-like fractilinear patterns of bases and stuff. It just looked cool and it was fun and I liked it. And I'm like, I want more games.
I want more of that.
I want more adjacency, man.
I want that.
Yeah. So you've been playing more Dune?
I have.
You got your guild HQ? Am I invited?
Unfortunately, you are more than welcome. I haven't had a chance to really play with anyone else because they did the early access thing, which a lot of my friends were turned off by, and I completely understand that. Full disclosure, I will be doing a sponsored stream for them, so just I want that to be out there. I will be sponsored by them, but it's a fun game. There's a lot to explore and do. The first couple of zones are a little bland. But apparently it opens up after that, and they have some. I was watching some other streams that are much further, and it's like, what's that?
Too much sand?
There's a lot of sand. Yeah, no, there's a lot of sand. They try.
What's gonna happen in the other zones? The first 2 zones are bland.
There is some foliage and stuff.
Oh, okay.
They do add.
Sick.
There'll be like some desert plants and stuff.
Oases.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still Dune. Like it's gonna be. Yeah. There's like this giant. I've got to this giant ravine, which like goes from like one side of the map to the other. It's absolutely massive, and there's a bunch of stuff down there that I haven't even explored yet. It's a cool game. It's got some great skeleton to it. I think the biggest thing that's bringing it down is its combat is just really basic, and you fight a lot of the same just enemies. It's just humans with a gun, and it's like that's fine. The melee combat's still super jank, which is unfortunate. It's a lot of just like slowly moving your dagger towards the enemy, and then boop, you finally hit them, and it just results in really clunky. The problem I have is like if you fight multiple enemies right now that have a shield and they're all meleeing you, because you have to try and slowly stab one of them. If you've got 3 around you, you can never actually get the stab in because another one will hit you while you're going through this very long 3-second animation, right? Yeah. And so it just makes that encounter just like miserable because it's super super clunky.
How do you think? So like most MMOs have what I would say are pretty tame combat systems where it's usually just a timing and ability game where you're just hitting your ability.
Well, this is a third person shooter. Yeah.
So how would you say it compares to like what a more traditional MMO PvE combat is like? Cuz
weaker,
really? Okay.
Yeah. I think the combat is the one of the weakest parts of the game right now.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate to hear. Yeah. How about the crafting and base
shooter
building,
mechanics
though?
are fine, like they're competent, and I think later on you'll start to unlock things. Like I'm still pretty early on. I'd say I'm maybe getting to mid game, maybe.
How many sandworms have you ridden?
At least none so far.
Oh, you haven't even rode a sandworm.
I haven't rode a
You're
sandworm. I don't even
reviewing
know
the
if you
game
can.
without riding a sandworm. Okay.
I know.
How much blue water have you drunk at this
All
point?
the blue water.
All the blue? Okay.
All
Can
of
you
it,
see
all
the
of it.
future, Matt?
He has become Paul. My character is a woman. It has become Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paulina.
Yeah. Paulina. Yes. I don't want to downplay it too much because it's fun. Like
Yeah.
that's if I had one critique for the game, it'd be I wish there was more variety in the enemies, and I wish there was more variety or just tighter combat like mechanics.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I think that's also just because of the Dune property, the Dune intellectual property, and shields are really big. And I think later on you will get weapons, I've heard, that will be able to pierce through those shields reliably from a distance. And so if you wanted to go more of a ranged combat like build, you can do that, and you don't always have to be in melee for those situations. So that'll probably make it a lot more fun for me.
Do they shoot bullets that like slow down before they get to the enemy?
It's basically darts.
Yeah.
Shooting at them.
Okay.
Yep.
So those little dart thingies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the rules that they establish in the Dune universe to create a reason for melee combat and other things like that. Like they do a good job of it. It's just translating that into cool gameplay that's a challenge. And I'm glad I didn't have to solve that problem of like being like, all right, guys have to move slowly to stab each other. Make it fun. You're like, oh crap. All right.
Yeah. How do you make that fun? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one thing I was pleasantly surprised by is there's quests, and there's like it's fully voice acted, and the voice actors they're not bad. Like these are really like you recognize some of the voice actors. You're like, damn. Okay, these are some of my favorites from like Garrus from Mass Effect is in this, right?
Yeah.
You'll recognize them, and they're doing a really good job. And there's stories and stuff that I was not expecting from a survival game at all. Most survival games have minimal story.
Yeah.
And it's just about building and getting progressing, right? So it's like I said, a pleasant surprise.
Did you ever see the David Lynch Dune movie?
I saw parts of it when I was younger when my dad was watching it, but not really.
Do you remember how they solved the like what's it called, like their combat technique? It's called like the weirding way or the wielding.
It doesn't ring a bell, no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, like there's
I know what you're referring to, but not in the David Lynch stuff.
Okay, yeah. In the David Lynch thing, I think there was some sort of production thing where they're like the cost or the difficulty of training everybody to like have really good hand-to-hand combat was just going to be a pain in the butt or something. For whatever reason, they made a decision not to do that, and instead they gave them sound guns where if you mastered the sound gun, Matt, you would make a weird sound that was like, oh, and then you would like yell into the gun, and then it would shoot a sound out of it and like blow up a rock or something.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, this is what they decided to do instead of having like kick-ass melee combat? Have a bunch of guys going, oh, into like a gun. Yeah.
And it's kind of like The Voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a voice gun, basically.
Right.
Like, shoot, bang, 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 bang. I'm shooting you. Anyway, that was, you should go watch the David Lynch Dune if you want a good Dune movie.
I should.
Yeah. And just be appalled at how much of the story they cut out.
Did you do that intentionally?
No, I didn't, but I wish I did.
Damn, bro. Yeah. I was like, that is so good if you did that intentionally.
Oh, that could have been your character name in Dune. Appalled, right?
Appalled.
Yeah.
I'm appalled by this.
We're clever, man. I think
we are very much so. Accidentally so. We're just that good.
Yeah, this is why we're internet famous, Matt.
In general, I'm looking forward to playing more though, especially if I can play with some buddies, because it starts to get to a bit of a grind. It is a survival game, and boy, it leans into the survival part. You're going to be mining rocks.
Yeah. Do you have to drink your own body sweat and stuff? Is that like
that helps. Yeah.
Cool. And other things.
Water is a big currency in the game, where not only do you have to drink it, but you also have to use it to make things. And it's big in the production. But you can eventually start to automate it, where you can have like big wind farms that will give you some water and stuff like that.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah. Man, I am tempted. I'm tempted by it. I like big sandworms.
I think it's a solid game. It's got its problems, but I think it's a solid title so far. But I'm only like early mid game, I'd say.
Yeah, right. MMOs are all judged by their end game content at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm excited.
Even if it's technically not an MMO, yeah.
Yeah, right. What is a modern
looks
MMO?
Really cool.
Yeah.
So the way that they're doing this is you've got your server, and then there's like sub-servers and worlds underneath it, and then so you can play with anyone within the server. With like if they're in any of those sub-servers, you can join. But your home is the place where you can actually make your base. And then if you go to the deep desert, I believe that's when it pools all of those together, and you'll be fighting everyone that could potentially be on those in the deep desert.
I like that. I've always thought that there is easier ways than, say, the traditional World of Warcraft system where you're like, I picked my server and that's the server I play on forever. And oh man, you're on a different server. Well, I guess we'll never ever play together because I've got mine.
Ever, because there's so much investment to level up.
Yeah, you'll never ever play together. So I always thought about that. And I was like, I don't understand why they're relegating everybody to the same server. It seems silly. But yeah, I like the idea of making an MMO where you don't have to exist on a single shard with all your shard buddies. So it's a good idea. Good on them for doing it that way. Well, anything else happen to you? Are you good? Yeah.
I played Baby Steps. You ever hear about that one?
No.
It's a demo. No. Basically, you control a guy, and you just take steps. You control every step. What? He's the same guy that did. Oh, what was it called? You know the one where he's in a pot, and all you have is you've got this like
Yeah. I know what
axe,
you're talking about. Same guy.
Yeah, I think it's the same guy.
Why did that game get so big?
I don't know. I think it's streamer bait, and just like it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
So he's basically making another game that's kind of similar, where you take steps. That's all you do. You just walk. But the problem is that you'll come across obstacles where you need to like go over a gap. And if you fall, you will fall down the mountain, and you have to walk all the way back to that position to try again.
This is 100% streamer bait. These are games that don't work unless somebody is watching you fail, basically. Otherwise, you're playing it and you're like, what? Why the hell am I doing this? Like, may as well go push a boulder up a hill, you know?
It is kind of fun to walk, though, because like you can... when you actually feel like you're in control over it, it's a little difficult to start, but then you kind of like get a handle on it. You literally are... Every step is at your discretion. Left and right, up and down, like everything. And so it's kind of cool.
It is a literal walking simulator.
It's literally a walking simulator. Literally. Yeah.
That's amazing. You're like,
all
right, place the right foot and now the left foot. Okay, right foot.
Literally, you were doing that. Yeah, it's like that QWOP game from, remember that all the way back when?
No, I don't remember that one.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So for people that love to hate, masochists, they just hate themselves, then this is going to be great. I don't know, because it was just the demo. I don't know if I'll be picking it up when it goes live, but I can definitely see some streamers getting entertainment out of it, because good Lord, it is a nightmare.
Yeah. So this guy's got another hit on his hands, it seems like.
Potentially, yeah. Yep.
You know what? If you're good at making meme games, then good on you.
Why not? Right?
Yeah. It is. Just looking at the screenshots, I'm like, it's just all I see is a dude in like pajamas walking around or whatever he's wearing.
He gets teleported through his TV, and then he's just walking. He has to go to the bathroom. That's the story.
And is like, and just the way he's clothed too is so like you're just like,
unappealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a not in shape dude with too tight of a onesie pajamas walking around in baby steps. Yeah. It's good stuff.
It's high quality. So I played that for like an hour.
Yeah.
Just the demo.
Cool. Yeah. And I guess there was a bunch of Next Fest games that came out too. I don't know if part of Next Fest?
That's today. That's literally today.
Oh yeah, it is today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my buddy's helicopter game is dropping today. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
It's literally, when I clicked on the Next Fest, the first thing that popped up was cleared hot.
Nice. Yeah, I made a video on it and it did really well. I was like, I was sick. So people,
Hell yeah.
There's so many comments that were like, I played the crap out of this back in the game. I'm like, yes, I'm not the only old gamer around, because it was like a Sega Genesis franchise. I know they made it on more modern consoles later, but the heyday was really like the Sega Genesis era of Desert Strike and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. I'm really excited for his team. I think they got a fun game on their hands. Cleared.
I wish them luck.
Yeah, me too. Gosh, we didn't really watch much since last podcast. An episode of Wrexham, which was solid.
Nice.
And then we went back and watched. I had to send my VFX guy. I send him references of movie shots sometimes where I'm like, I want it to look like this, and then I had this image in my head and I couldn't figure out where it was from, and then I remembered it's from Total Recall, the original one from like the 80s. And so I ended up watching that movie again, and it holds up, man. The 80s were wild, dude. They just gratuitous violence on a level where you're like, God, they don't make movies like this anymore, man.
They don't make, I mean, they do make movies like this, but
that's true. But it's kind of like body horror stuff. Like
didn't you kind of just watch that like warfare movie? I heard that was really brutal.
Yeah, but not in the same way. Like there's a scene in this, like I was watching it with Natalie and we were both laughing because of just how ridiculous it is.
How over the top it was. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is in the original Total Recall. He's getting chased by a bunch of bad guys through a subway area, and all the bad guys have got like submachine guns or whatever. And he's like walking up an escalator, and there's bad guys behind him and in front of him, and they both have guns, and they start to shoot at him, and he just grabs this dude next to him. He's just using him as a bullet shield. And like the amount of bullets that go into this guy
get riddled.
Yeah. This is just some dude with like groceries, he's just like going home to see my family. Oh God, I'm getting riddled with bullets. He then takes the body of this dude and throws him down the escalator onto the other guys.
Okay, you're right. You don't really see many movies like that.
Yeah, and you're like, this is the hero. This is the guy we're rooting for.
Yeah. He's just trying to survive, level cap.
It's good, man. The original Total Recall is like, if people haven't seen it, it is such a great film. Like,
I'll have to watch it because I have not seen it.
Oh, Matt, there's like 3-breasted women in it.
I know. I'm aware of that because I'm on the internet.
There's Quaid as the oh man, the open your mind open your mind Quaid. Okay, you'll get to it. You watch that. It's your homework assignment for the next podcast. Okay.
I did see a show called Department Q on Netflix, and it was okay. I'm like on episode 4 or 5. It's all right. It's about a guy. Bad thing happened to him. He's like a cop investigator, and he's trying to find cold cases. And it's like, it's all right.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Okay.
Recommended from some friends and family, and they're like, oh, it's great. And I watched it, and I was like, it's okay. So it's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, I didn't watch anything that I was like, I can't think of anything that I was blown away with other than the latest season of Wrexham, which I am addicted to, or the latest episode of Wrexham. Super good documentary. I think they won a bunch of awards, actually, which is cool. Yep, highly recommend that one. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, there's so much stuff that happened with games. I mean, honestly, we're just cherry picking things that stood out to us, but there must have been like 100 game announcements or something.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
it was significant.
Truly impossible to cover.
We could go down the list if we really wanted to, but
I mean, it's just the things that you think you're going to play, right? That you're excited to play.
Well, this day and age is basically everything.
I know you streamer freak playing everything that comes out. Most people are like buying a handful of games a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm over here gobbling them up.
I know. And then you're like, there's only 40 hours, bro.
Yeah, come on now. Come on.
40 hours. Yeah. It's either it was too short or too long. Don't like the UI,
Yeah.
Just
goddamn UIs. It's funny. I actually complained about the UI of one of the trailers. It's like, it's not even the UI. It's just the trailer. It said like something along the lines of like available on like something, and then it was supposed to reference like Xbox. The logos were like all the way down at the bottom though, so I couldn't figure out what the 2 was. It was because of its. Yeah, never mind. Doesn't matter. I'm doing a terrible job of describing it.
No, I know what you're talking about. And editing software has a safe margin in it. I don't know if you ever turn that on.
I've not.
It basically is like, hey, some platforms or TVs or whatever will actually scale up the image, or it won't be the right ratio or whatever, and it'll get cut off. So here's your safe margin. Don't put your text here. So those guys clearly didn't heed
maybe that's why
the safe margin rules, and you missed some text there, some important info. It's like coming on, and then you're like, what? When's it coming? What platform? What date? Oh, I got
because it said coming on, and then but the platforms were all the way down at the bottom, and they were a different style in text. If that makes any sense. Okay. So it just was awkward, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I figured it out. But
you're criticizing the UI of trailers now. I like it, Matt.
That's what I'm doing. You know,
I'm not progressing with my game's UI until it goes through the Matimio
until it goes through
approval.
my critique.
I figure if it can pass your inspection, then we must have the world's best game user interface.
Hell yeah.
You could start your own agency, Matimio's user interface review. I like it. Well, you want to wrap up the old pod?
Yeah, that sounds good. A little solid little podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for dropping by the podcast. As always, if you would like to support our podcast further, you can check out our Patreon, linked in the video description. If you become a Patreon member, you can check out our podcast recordings live. And then for after the pod, we have a little chat that we do with people hanging out here. Talk about Formula One, deep politics, our terrible interpretation of economics. That's always fun. We're like, man, this economy. Lots of good financial advice in that discussion. But am I selling the Patreon membership?
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. And you know what? The great thing is even if you're not a Patreon member, you can come on by the podcast every week and get some really important information from Matt. Take it away, Matt.
Okay, so my great life advice today is let your actions speak louder than your words. In the sense, if you're really confident about something, maybe don't flaunt it in front of everyone and just show a quality product that speaks for itself. We'll just say that.
Yes. I don't know if you're up on the news these days, Matt, but we're in the era of words speak louder than the actions right now.
Yeah. I'm well aware. That's why I'm trying to curve it a little bit. In the right direction.
Yeah. That's Splitgate 2 announcement, man. He made headlines. He wanted some media attention, and he got, maybe that was the gambit, right? It's just make an ass of yourself on a game show, and then every news site out there is gonna be talking about you.
Talk about it, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the cojones to do that. Maybe one day.
I'm a coward. I'd rather be like, no. If I'm gonna do something, I hope my actions speak louder.
Yep. Good advice. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.